one. Welcome everyone to Memorial Day Monday and Going for Two's 2-Point Conversion podcast. I am thrilled to be joined by Stompy and Big D today, this evening, 5:30 my time, 6:30 Stompy time, 7:30 Dylan time. So whatever time zone you're on, we appreciate you being here to join us on this lovely Memorial Day. And the first thing we're going to do is the guests are going to introduce themselves and tell us their walk-up music. Big D, let's start with you, my friend. Oh, before we start, I have to apologize to Jeff Lambert. This is episode 11 of Going for Two-Point Conversion, and I was supposed to have my microphone, but as you can see, I don't, so my sound is going to sound worse on. Sorry, Jeff. I'll fix it soon as I figure out how to do it, which might be never, but anyway. So, Big D, let's start with you. Why don't you introduce yourself and tell us what your walk-up music would be, my friend?
Howdy, y'all. My name is Dylan, and has anybody been to Memphis, Tennessee? Because Walking in Memphis by Lone Star would be my walk-up song.
Nice. Okay, I like that song actually. And where can people find you and your writings and narratives?
Well, you could find me. I'll host the Big D podcast, but you can also find me on Fake Pink Skin or message me Facebook and Twitter. My Twitter is Dylan S Sports 1, and you can tweet and message me there or Facebook. I'm not an Instagram, Snapchat, or any of those guys. I also have a YouTube page, the Spunky Spectrum Sports YouTube page, where all my episodes are recorded and kept, so you can watch them and keep track of what I'm producing.
All right. That's a lot of things going on there, Dylan. And Stompy, welcome back to the fantasy football world.
Appreciate it.
No, and tell us a little bit about yourself and where we can find you and your walk-up music.
Sure. So I've settled at StompBearPig on Twitter. I've had some alias names going around trying to get back on Twitter. Turns out my phone number and email are permanently banned from Twitter, so I have to use my girlfriend's phone number and email. So there's that. So yeah, at StompBearPig on Twitter. That's where I'm doing most of my fantasy football content, tweeting about players and stuff. Do a little bit of writing at Dynasty Nerds as well. And then I am looking at starting a podcast with a friend, Justin Toth. I don't know if any of you guys remember Father-Son Fantasy Football, but Justin Toth is around, and we're going to start a podcast here soon, largely based around debating players. We're naming it after Thunderdome for a movie connoisseur here, Thunderdome. And maybe we'll just get Diana Ross to do the intro. That'd be great. Get a cameo of Diana Ross to do that. Or no, not Diana Ross. It was Tina Turner. I apologize. I mixed up the Black Queen icons. I apologize. And then look out for that. We'll be putting that out here shortly, recording our first one here shortly. As for walk-up music, honestly, I don't know. I like John Cena's walk-up music because if you got anybody's in wrestling, and so I'm taking this the wrestling route because if you don't know who I am, I'm pretty well known for wearing singlets and showing parts of myself out on the internet. Wow. I made a wrestling video after I won Scott Fishbowl 8. A challenge video in which I wore a singlet and did a one of those WWE Smack Talk videos. Did it again and did a version of Randy Macho Man Savage. So, but my walkout music I think would be John Cena because it's just it's the horns blaring, and just loud, and I think that's who I am as well.
That's I think you kind of lost me on the singlet, but okay, I'm catching up a little bit.
You haven't seen those videos? I guess I'm going to have
yet.
to start putting those videos back on the internet.
I think that is a requirement. I think that you're going to have to start doing that. Hey, Eric, happy Memorial Day to you. Eric, our friend from Texas. I don't know if he's from Texas, but I know he's a big Dallas fan and he has a really Southern accent. So
Probably
what's up, Eric? Yeah, so I'm going to go that he's from Texas. I don't know. All right. So today we're going to start because the big sports news is Naomi Osaka pulling out of Roland Garros because for mental health reasons, which is truly understandable. So my question to both of you, and we'll start with you, Stompy, is what do you personally do to ensure your mental health? What are steps that you do to ensure your mental health?
So I guess, again, for those who haven't been around all that long in this space, I actually had to back away for a little bit last year because I was doing just way too many things at one time and just felt overwhelmed and burnt out. So I took a step back from any extracurriculars, focused on my job and my relationship. At one point I was recording 3 or 4 different podcasts, hosted 4 different podcasts a week, plus probably guesting on one a week, plus writing a column a week, plus running a consulting site. So it was just too much. So I took a step back, and I think that was probably the best thing I could have done because I had to really sit down and focus a lot on keeping just my mental health throughout this pandemic because I just had a very odd schedule that was messing with my sleep, and finally back on a normal schedule. But as I'm working my way back, I'm starting to realize I need to say no more. I've been able to do that. I have to set limits on myself. I can't get too involved too quickly and can't develop these habits that are bad for me. I'm taking small baby steps to get back involved in just like real life. And I've started to realize that that's a lot better for me to do, is just add new things every day to get back to a normal, healthy state. Some of the other things I'm doing, I go to therapy once or twice a month, once every 2 weeks, just to see where I'm at in terms of my recovery and stability and stuff like that. But I also take several different medications. I have one for anxiety, another for depression, and another for ADHD. And I feel like that has centered me a lot, especially as I've gotten older and started to realize I need to take more care of myself. I've definitely started to make sure I'm doing the right things physically as well as mentally.
Excellent. And Big D, what about you? What do you do to ensure your mental health?
Well, one thing I try and do is think of life in a positive manner because, it seemed like every day that transpired, particularly in March 2020, it was like bad news, like, oh, this is close and this is close. I'm like sooner or later, like I tried to get positive news. So I found cute koala videos and posted them and liked them online, which kept me going and kept my positive attitude. But I've also kept up my fitness, run, biking, walking out at home, which has not only kept me physically going, but made me feel better about myself because I'm keeping in shape. And part of me feels so much better after work. Even today, even though it's 9 million degrees in Florida, I went for a jog this morning.
9 million degrees. That is why I don't go into Florida. One of the many reasons I don't go into Florida. But yeah,
although St. Louis is warmer than Florida, maybe not now, but wait till July.
Yeah, it's not great. Not great, Bob.
Well, Colorado is bad, but the weather changes instantly. So
I would much rather live in Colorado because it's dry and it doesn't get like crazy hot.
No, yeah. No, I guess not. It stays where it gets hot, but then the next day it's like 40 degrees. So
I love that.
Yeah, I do too. I do too. I'm not gonna lie. All right. So is anyone listening out there?
Yes, there are 4 people listening.
I think that's Facebook. Is that Facebook? That's on Facebook. Not a big Facebook fan. I'm sorry. Sorry, people on Facebook. Nothing personal. I just don't go on Facebook that much. So to anyone listening across the social medias, it's okay to say no. Like if you are overwhelmed, it's okay to say no. I mean, you have some of the biggest athletes in the world coming out now saying, I just can't do it anymore. And then someone posted something on Twitter today about Ricky Williams, who had his anxiety problems. Mm-hmm. And at the time it wasn't, thought of as being something spectacular, but it is. So just say no. That's all I got.
It's me. It's me.
But he's not in a singlet. So, I mean, I don't know if it's the same thing. I don't know.
I see one within my eyesight right now. I could get one in a singlet.
So maybe, we can keep our fingers crossed. That could still happen. All right, let's talk Dynasty because I don't play Dynasty at all. To me, I just don't play it. So I want you guys to tell me why I should be playing Dynasty and what the value on Dynasty is. And let's start with you, Big D. Why should I be playing Dynasty?
Well, to be honest, I think of Dynasty baseball. I think of Dynasty football as almost like you see a player develop. You see these guys develop. What last year, if anybody picked the draft, was high on a couple guys. I think of Cam Akers of the LA Rams as a high Dynasty pick last year, and he finally broke out the last couple of weeks. Big playoff game against the Seahawks, and I think of a couple years ago, who was the guy with the Seahawks? DK Metcalf became that Dynasty player some people need in their league, because if you feel that difference between a good Dynasty player and a great Dynasty player often can make a difference in whether you're winning your league or you're getting another one pick in your league.
Yeah, but I can get that on redraft too. You know what I mean? Like I was always big on DK Metcalf, maybe because of the video where he was crying because they picked him. I love that. So I drafted DK Metcalf in almost every redraft league I had. Dynasty to me just seems like, I don't know, it seems like it takes the fun out of picking someone every year. What do you say, Stomp?
So I guess I like it because it helps me understand the game in a better or more fully, I suppose. And that's what I think about adding just different aspects of all of these leagues, whether it be Superflex or tight end premium or Canton to or campus to Canton or what have you. In IDP, it helps you understand the game further. So in redraft, sure, you understand the great players, but I think in Dynasty. And this can relate back to redraft. In Dynasty, you understand what those rookies coming in could do, or understanding like every part of the offense on a given team. I don't think a lot of people look in depth on teams and what they're adding and subtracting as much as Dynasty players. And not present party excluded here, Gladys. I'm not saying you don't know what you're doing.
No, I understand.
But point is, like, I think Dynasty has helped me understand what players I can pick on the back end of drafts, especially for rookies that could end up hitting, like an Alvin Kamara in 2017 when he went to the Saints. He kind of dropped to the back end of redraft leagues, but ended up being a league winner because he got a significant amount of touches that year. There you go. And that's the other aspect too, is if you're really into fantasy football, you're doing this stuff year round. And so dynasty is just the culmination of studying the entire football season and understanding what's coming out of college and what kind of shifts are being made on teams. For me, it just helps me understand the game better from the rookie year, even college recruiting to the end of players' careers.
Okay, that being said, tell me the top 3 2021 dynasty acquisitions.
Oof. So I'm going to say I'm a little bit biased on some of these.
Okay.
J.K. Dobbins is a semi-controversial one right now. And the reason I say that, and I wrote an article on Dynasty Nerds about that, but it's about aging running backs, and you should be trading them at peak or near peak value. So that's guys like Christian McCaffrey, Dalvin Cook, Derrick Henry, who I think you should be trading now, because those guys, I mean, we've seen running backs' careers, they're short. Generally, running backs' careers don't last much beyond the first contract. Second contracts are generally bad omens for running backs in terms of fantasy production. So when you have guys like Derrick Henry, who just ran over 2,000 yards, you have Christian McCaffrey, who's the #1 pick in fantasy, you're not going to get much more value than you can get right now for them. And so and the reason I say J.K. Dobbins, so to move it back to the J.K. Dobbins, he's the #1 running back on a team that runs the ball the most in the NFL. Last year he was on pace for over 1,000 yards and on only, or I think it was nearly 1,200 yards on only 200 carries after he took over the starting position. And we saw what Mark Ingram could do with Lamar Jackson and Lamar Jackson's first season as a starter. We saw him only get 200 carries and go over 1,000 yards. We saw him get 26 receptions, but he had 5 reception touchdowns. So Dobbins is younger and a better athlete than, well, just better running back than Mark Ingram. And yes, I'm talking about the Mark Ingram that won the Heisman Trophy, but J.K. Dobbins is a faster and more or tougher runner than Ingram. And I think that he's going to take a major step forward. And we're talking probably 1,300 all-purpose yards and double-digit touchdowns. So he's my #1. You're going to figure out a theme here. I love running backs. So 2 of my guys are going to be running backs, and people, there's a very, very big divide on people who like running backs in Dynasty and those who don't, those who like wide receivers. And I'm on the running back side. The second one is Austin Eckler. And this is a little odd, just because he's been in the league for so long, but he's still only 25 going on 26. Has had limited touches because he was behind Melvin Gordon, and was injured most of last year. At least I think he was injured 10 games last year because of a hamstring. But he's going to be entering a season where he is absolutely the RB1 on that team. After he's posted top 5 running back numbers in the games he was a starter, where he received starter touches. And I believe he was actually a top 4 fantasy point producer in the 4 games that Melvin Gordon was out, or was when he was sat out the first 4 games of the season, was a top 4 fantasy points of all positions, top 4. We know what he can do with the pass game. So I think he's good for another 2 to 3 years here, just because of his well, I could answer that. I don't think so, because he's never been unhealthy. He had that one game, or the one season last season, in which he had a hamstring issue, but he's never had hamstring issues before. And he just hasn't had a lot of work done. So I like Austin Eckler a lot for the next couple seasons, and his value is super depressed right now because of all the young running backs that are in the league right now. And then finally, and this is a little bit homer pick, but Jerry Jeudy. So regardless of who's quarterback, I am hoping for Aaron Rodgers to come to Denver. I hope they trade for him on Wednesday. Wednesday they can trade for him, or maybe it's Thursday. Anyway, I hope they do that. But if Drew Lock is the quarterback, I still think that entire offense takes a step forward. Jerry Jeudy's not going to have the drops that he had last year, the drop issues he had last year. He's one of the best wide receiver prospects that come out in the last 5 years, I would guess. He has Cortland Sutton who has proven to be able to take on those cornerback ones, and Jerry Jeudy will be not facing those cornerback ones, even though he produced last year facing them it was just a bad season all around on that offense. So Jerry Jeudy, I don't know how his value is so depressed when he was such an elite prospect and he was the leading wide receiver on his team as a rookie facing cornerback ones and on a team that was injury plagued. And so there's really only one way for him, and it's to move forward. But his value, especially among the 10-year or the second-year wide receivers, Kyle, nope. Guarantee you that won't happen. Chubb will be part of that deal. Jerry Jeudy will not.
What if Mark Murphy says we want Jeudy but not Chubb?
That's fine. I don't think it'll happen that way, but that's fine. Aaron Rodgers changes that team. Like it goes from like a borderline playoff team right now on paper to like could win the AFC West. Wait
a minute.
I am including Mahomes. That defense is not good.
Wait a minute. The Chiefs takes the biggest hit hole, the offensive line. They've got the best quarterback in football. They've got the best tight end, Travis Kelce.
You're talking about Aaron Rodgers, the MVP, correct? The best quarterback in the game.
37-year-old Aaron Rodgers, who's more focused on
that's fine, but so the point being, though, I'm not saying that he is better than Patrick Mahomes. I am saying that he is still an elite QB right now, at least from last year, with a better offense than he had around him last year, a better defense than he had on that team. That defense, I think, could be 2015 type of great for the Broncos if everybody stays healthy.
One problem. If Aaron Rodgers is in Denver next year, he's in the toughest he may be in the toughest quarterback division in football because Patrick Mahomes probably the best passer in football. Justin Herbert set every rookie record last year.
But he's still not better than Aaron Rodgers.
At least not 2021. Not 2022. We'll see.
But I'm saying the Broncos right now, adding Aaron, like on paper, except for at quarterback, they are in win now mode, and they are ready to win. If they get Aaron Rodgers, they have to be – I'm not going to say favorites. I'm just saying they have a legitimate chance to win the AFC West. Oh my God! I'm being the homer, Kyle. Holy cow! Get out of here. Okay, Kyle, I got to come now on your podcast and yell at you about this nonsense.
I've got a better idea. Why don't you come on my podcast? I'll bring the gloves.
All right, let's fight. Okay. Get out. Oh my God. If he's gonna say tell me Zadarius Smith is better than Von Miller, I'm rage quitting this show. You're gonna make me rage quit somebody else's show, Kyle. Hi, nice to see you, Kyle. Oh man, I swear there is a group of people that know how to get me riled up, and Kyle is one of them, and John Hogue is another.
Okay,
But yeah, but I still think Jerry Jeudy takes a big step forward, and it may not be CeeDee Lamb level or Justin Jefferson level, but he's landing in a better. Yes, he was, Kyle. Oh man. But he lands in a better situation next year because he doesn't have to face the top cornerback on the team. Cortland Sutton's back. He's an elite athlete or an elite wide receiver recruit. And I feel like he's going to take a major step forward and this year, and his value right now is crazy because he had a few drop issues and didn't put up 1,000 yards like CeeDee Lamb and Justin Jefferson.
All right,
that was a very long segment. I apologize for that.
No, that was fine. You're fine. That was your three. Big D, who are your three top dynasty acquisitions for 2021?
Well, well, I've got two running backs and a wide receiver, but I'm starting my wide out first, and I really like Brandon Ayuk this year. I don't care if it's Jimmy G or Trey Lance, because I think Ayuk, big, athletic, can run. I think the 49ers will be more if not 50-50, more pass-based this year. I think they will try and open up the game. Yeah, you think, well, the NFC West is full of great defenses, but I think Brandon Ayuk this year could be a top 10 wide receiver.
Okay.
Ooh.
And then running back wise,
that was we'll talk about that one. Actually, let's talk about that one. So I guess and this isn't really much of an argument. It's more of a question about, do you feel that George Kittle being more healthy, possibly Deebo Samuel being more healthy, is going to eat into Ayuk's numbers, and the addition of Trey Sermon as well?
Yes and no, because I think San Francisco will throw the ball deep, and if Trey Lance plays like he's capable of playing, I'm not saying he'll be.
I'll be interested if he's the starter next year.
Well, I think if he's the starter, it's better news for Ayuk because I think he can catch the deep ball.
And I think Jimmy G is terrible. So.
And then secondly, how about another NFC West playmaker? But this time it's I said his name before, Cam Akers. Look what he did in the playoffs. Once he became the starting tailback, the Rams became a different offense. And yes, you think Stafford can throw the ball deep with Cooper Kupp, Robert Woods, Jefferson. But guess what? Somebody's got to score those touchdowns. And I think Cam Akers might be that guy in the red zone or maybe the feed zone.
The feed zone?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Yeah, another interesting one there is Darrell Henderson just fell off the face of the planet, apparently.
Yeah.
So Cam Akers is in for a huge season because they don't really have anybody else.
Yeah, and plus you think, well, the Rams are going to be more explosive offense, so he'll get more cracks at the end zone.
Yeah, and you wouldn't think like, okay, adding Matt Stafford, like the direct correlation isn't there. Matt Stafford is a better quarterback, but it's like, well, they're going to be scoring more often. So Cam Akers is likely going to get a significant amount of, like you said, red zone touches.
And who's your third one?
I hate you, Kai. I hate that. What? Ugh. Oh, I hate that so much, Kai.
And then number three, I know you may think I'm biased. Well, you've got a guy from your team. Here's my guy from my team, Mr. Chenault.
Oh, yes. I love this.
No, I'm not. No, I'm not going with Chenault right now. I'm taking Kyle Pitts. No, I'm taking Kyle Pitts. I don't care if Julio's there in 2021. I think Kyle Pitts is going to set stupid records that we've never seen a tight end come close to setting. I think Kyle Pitts will be the first modern era tight end with 1,000 receiving yards. I mean, you've got a passer. You've got Arthur Smith there. I know Matt Ryan's getting up in age, but he's still Matty Ice. Calvin Ridley is more than a capable 1, if not 1A. And on that fast Mercedes-Benz Stadium turf, Kyle Pitts could catch 80 balls for 1,200 yards very easily. Very easily, especially in a 17-game season.
All right, let's go back one step. Let's go back to Shenault. Why did you take Shenault off the board?
Because I liked him.
I wanted him on the podcast for the whole time. I didn't want him rage quitting. I just wanted him to get a joke. But I do think Shenault would be interesting to see with Trevor Lawrence, because you think Shenault and Marvin Jones could be in the slot, so that might actually help. And yes, people are thinking of Tim Tebow, but Trevor Lawrence is the quarterback, and there will not be a controversy for who's throwing the ball in Jacksonville this year.
I want to put this tweet out there. What do you think the over and under is that Tebow throws 10 balls? Do you think over or under 10 balls this year? 10 passes?
Did he pass it?
Under, and I'm not even sure Tebow's their opening week.
All right. Fair
in
enough.
a 17-game season with Urban Meyer coaching, I would go over. I mean, they're not going to be long passes, but like trick plays, I could see it.
Here's the question. All under 1.5 jump passes.
That's where I would think that he's used the most, is those jump passes. Line up in like a wildcat type of offense and then do a jump pass. I could see Urban doing that all day.
Yeah,
so I'm gonna go over 1.5 jump passes.
I'm going over 1.5 jump passes easily. And I think he stays on the team. There's no way Urban Meyer's cutting Tim Tebow. That's his boy. Please.
I don't know. Bill Belichick cut him.
Yeah, Urban Meyer. What? But that's not okay.
Bill Belichick cut Tebow.
Yeah, but I mean, he at that point he wasn't being used for anything but gimmicky stuff.
Urban Meyer's.
You never heard of a jump pass, Kyle? Why? Look up Tim Tebow jump pass or
look up
2006
against LSU. That's the best jump pass. Heck, even look up the jump pass against Sam Bradford in the 09 BCS title game just down the road in Miami.
Don Terry Poe did a jump pass on the Broncos a couple of years ago.
That was, let's just say, I don't think Andy Reid was saving him for the playoff game, but.
I remember that pass. That was a great pass, though. It was a great play.
I hated it
much. If only Refrigerator Perry had called that pass.
Yeah, right.
That would have been awesome. Let's talk about, because we briefly talked about Matty Ice. Where is the best landing spot fantasy-wise for Julio Jones? Because we're assuming he's not going to be in Atlanta, right? We're assuming that he's out of Atlanta. He's gone.
Fantasy-wise,
I've got one. Titans.
I think so too. Let's talk about Seattle is a terrible place for him because first and foremost, they don't throw the ball that much. They have DK, who is at this point, I believe, better than Julio in their careers. At this point in their careers, relax.
And then Tyler Lockett.
And then Tyler Lockett's there as well. And then they just added Gerald Everett, which I think is an underrated tight end that people are dismissing right now. But regardless, they don't have the pass plays to accommodate a Julio Jones in this offense. New England, maybe, but do you trust Cam this year as a passer?
I'm not 100% sure Cam starts the whole year.
And that may not be. So you have a rookie, and it would be nice with Mac Jones, but I can't imagine that first year is going to be great for him.
Yeah, and especially when you're playing in maybe the toughest defensive division of football, where you've got Miami and Buffalo's defenses.
Yeah. And then, we've heard Los Angeles Chargers for a little bit, but I don't think that's going to do anything.
They don't need Chargers. Don't need a wide receiver. They've got Mike Williams and Keenan Allen.
So, I
think the other team in LA would make a lot of sense.
Yeah. Well, actually, you may as well if you're going for it because,
you won't have any picks for the next 10 years, but so what?
Yeah, right. So, I think I'm with Big D here that the Titans make the most sense because they have about one trustworthy pass catcher and then the rest are kind of fine, whatever. And you saw what Corey Davis did as well as A.J. Brown did last year. So.
Okay, I guess I should have asked this question first. Do you think he's out of Atlanta this year?
1,000%.
1,000%. 1,000%.
Yeah, I think so too. I'll say 99.9%. I won't be that.
1,000%.
I'm a scientist. I can't be that certain.
So, okay.
Okay, fine. I'll say 95%. That's right.
So, Tennessee Titans, best fantasy landing spot for Julio Jones. Even though
we'll say this, if the Packers made that move, that would be a good way to get Aaron Rodgers to come back.
Why?
They already have Devontae Adams. I think Julio and Devontae are different wide receivers or different enough wide receivers at this point. You can make it work. But we've seen what the Packers have done the last few years in terms of their drafts. They've been drafting defense and guys to help with the run game. And it makes sense. Then they got to the championship, the NFC championship last year or the last 2 years. But they just haven't been able to get over the hump. And getting Aaron Rodgers, another good pass catcher on the outside, and not to take away from Allen Lazard to take away from Jimmy Graham because that dude needs to retire at this point. But there's nobody else to catch the ball, and adding he is going on he's on the downhill side of a career, but a Hall of Fame wide receiver like Julio Jones, I think makes him happy and gives them a couple-year window again.
And to me, you look at Julio's stats last year, he still averaged 15.1 yards of reception, and in 2018, he racked up over 1,600 yards. So, I think this guy's got a couple good years left. Maybe not a 16-game player, but they might not need him for 16.
So between Tennessee and Green Bay, Big D, who are you going with for Julio Jones?
Well, it'd be Tennessee because you look at it, Ryan Tannehill really needs two capable wide receivers. If Titans don't have another wide receiver besides A.J. Brown, defense could literally put 8 in the box and double A.J. Brown and said, Ryan Tannehill, you throw I don't know who the number 2 wide receiver is in Tennessee now. I don't know.
I don't either. Now that
because Corey Davis is the shit.
Wow.
Okay, but I don't know. I guess I don't.
Josh Reynolds.
Yeah.
They also have rookie Des Fitzpatrick too. So they don't have much there in terms of wide receiver.
But they don't really pass the ball a lot either. They're in the bottom in passing. So
I would say that's a good argument for Seattle because they already have 2 legitimate pass catchers and arguably a third. Tennessee has 1, and because Derrick Henry's not really involved in the pass game, though he should be. Everybody's raving about Anthony Firkser, but he's had 2 or 3 successful games in the NFL.
Right.
Like you can't think that is a stable pass catcher. So they are in dire need of one. And so is Green Bay. I just think the Titans will pull the trigger because Green Bay doesn't seem to want to help with the passing game.
Oh, okay. So in a realistic situation, I see what you're saying. In a fantasy situation, if Aaron Rodgers stays in Green Bay, I would say Green Bay is the place for Julio Jones.
But, yes. There's just so much working against it that I just I don't trust that is going to happen.
I see what you're saying. So realistically, Tennessee, I guess, would be. But again, they do not pass the ball, I think, enough to warrant. If he goes to Tennessee, would you draft him above? Who would be 3 wide receivers you would draft him above if he lands in Tennessee?
Let me see. If Julio was in Nashville, Kenny Golladay, maybe?
You would draft him above Kenny Golladay and do it with the Giants? No.
I don't think Daniel Jones is that good.
Yeah, but they're going to toss the ball a lot. So the
opportunity. Toss the ball. They've got like 10 wide. They've got 10 guys. They've got Evan Ingram, drafted Kadarius Toney. Oh, yeah, and they've got that guy named Saquon Barkley.
Tennessee has a guy named Derrick Henry. I mean, I don't see – no way. I would not draft Julio above Kenny Golladay if Julio went to Tennessee.
I think where I'm at – I mean, I'm just looking at – sorry, going to name a rival site, DLF ADP right now.
Okay.
Kenny Galladay's wide receiver 24, which is kind of crazy to me, but then I remember the young wide receivers that have come in.
Right.
But Chase Claypool's right after him. I would probably draft Julio above Chase Claypool. I would draft him above Devonta Smith right now. And I'd probably draft. I mean, he's going behind Robert Woods. I would probably draft him above Robert Woods.
Really? I agree.
Listen, I love Robert Woods. Like I'm a huge Robert Woods fan, but I just don't know if he's going to get the targets necessary to beat. Well, now you're making me question myself, Gladys.
I'm sorry.
No, you're fine. Like, this is hard. I mean, it's hard. Like, I think rookie wide receivers in general, I just don't love them going that early because I don't know who they are. Like, look at N'Keal Harry. We thought he was like the sure thing from that draft, and he is way behind. So where he's being drafted right now, there's like DJ Chark, Robert Woods, Julio Jones, Laviska Shenault. And I just feel like in Dynasty, you're right. I would probably take Laviska Shenault, Robert Woods above Julio. I would probably take Julio over Chase Claypool, because I just think his whole situation is uncertain. And I'd probably take him above these rookie wide receivers just because I don't know what they are yet. And I usually can buy those second-year wide receivers for a lot cheaper, or I can trade for those wide receivers because their value is dead because they didn't produce in their rookie year.
Big D, all right?
Yeah, I actually would take Chase Claypool over Julio because I think Claypool, I know he struggled at the end, but maybe hit the rookie wall. I think second year, hopefully Big Ben kept himself somewhat in shape, and Claypool is more consistent this year. But by the way, I would take Julio over Courtland Sutton.
Erroneous.
Okay, are you guys talking?
That man produced a monster season with garbage QB to play. You slander his name, Dylan.
Are you guys talking redraft or dynasty? You're talking dynasty, right?
Yes, dynasty.
All right, redraft. In redraft, those playing redraft, you would take Julio over Chase Claypool, yes or no?
Yes. I think I take Claypool.
I still take Julio because I think Ben's arm strength is sapped. Deontay Johnson, Juju Smith-Schuster are going to be most of the targets.
Robert Woods, Julio Jones, Robert Woods, redraft.
Bobby Woods. Bobby Trees, baby.
Woods.
Who's the other one? Chase Claypool.
LaVisca?
Oh, no. You would take Julio, wouldn't you? With LaVisca and a rookie quarterback in redraft?
Oh, would it be a PPR league?
PPR, yeah.
I think LaVisca's in for a huge jump this season.
Really?
I feel really good about LaVisca this year.
It might depend on who Julio's quarterback is. If it's Aaron Rodgers, of course I take Julio. If it's Lamar Jackson, I'd probably take Chenault.
Yeah. Wait, how do we get Lamar Jackson here?
Yeah, you get Lamar Jackson out of your dirty mouth, Dylan. If you're gonna slander him like that, I am the ultimate Lamar Jackson defender. I have his jersey signed on my wall. How dare you?
No, Ryan Tannehill. We're assuming Julio's going to Tennessee.
I would probably take Julio.
Okay.
Barely.
Barely? Julio or Cortland Sutton redraft?
Oh, dude, Cortland Sutton, get out here with that. I know who you're going to take.
I'd probably say I'm still taking Julio.
Okay, I'm gonna agree with Eric because I don't think Tennessee passes the ball enough. That in a redraft PPR, Julio would be like a top 15. I don't see it.
Yeah, I agree with that. I mean, and if you look at if you just look at these dynasty rankings or ADP, I mean, you're not taking Julio above. I mean, you're probably taking him above Jamar Chase. Actually, you might not be, depending on how you feel about Jamar Chase.
Yeah,
you're not taking him above DJ Moore, Terry McLaurin, Michael Thomas, Chris Godwin. Probably not Allen Robinson. Maybe Allen Robinson at this point for this year. No. But yeah, I mean, maybe Amari Cooper, Brandon Ayuk. I could see. I know. I get it. But yeah, so you're not even really thinking about it until wide receiver teens at the very most.
Dylan?
It's a fascinating debate because we don't know what Julio is off the injuries. We don't know what Cortland Sutton is off his injury. It's going to be a fascinating year.
That's true. Especially after the COVID year where there's a lot of assumptions that are being made that I think need to be taken in context.
I almost think you throw out 2020 for some of these injured guys like Saquon Barkley, Christian McCaffrey, and like
Drew Lock.
Oh gosh, talk about regression.
Yeah, exactly. Drew Lock. You should just throw 2020 out.
Drew Lock hopes you throw 2020 out.
I'm throwing it out. I made an excuse for him. I've already written my excuse for him. I have it down in writing. Top 10 quarterback this year. If Aaron Rodgers obviously isn't there.
You think he's going to beat out Teddy Bridgewater?
Yes. Because I don't think Teddy Bridgewater has the necessary arm talent for guys like Cortland Sutton.
That's interesting. Okay.
Drew Lock is like a very poor man's. We're going to call it a homeless man's Patrick Mahomes.
I was thinking homeless man's Josh Allen, but that's a story for another day.
Oh yeah, well, I mean, he doesn't run nearly as much, so that's why I say he has like great arm strength and he can make some great throws, but he also relies way too much on that arm strength, and that's something he needs is his footwork.
All right, we're going to move on to another topic of my favorite topic, if we want to say it in English, which we probably do. Superpower. If you could have one superpower, Dylan, what would it be?
Flying.
Flying? Any superpower in the entire universe, you want flying? You can get in a plane for that. Why would you want flying to be your superpower?
Why would I get on an airplane and wear a mask when I could just fly anywhere around the world?
Flying. Okay.
So
either flying or being invisible.
Can I ask? Can you fly like at the speed of Superman, or is it like you can fly pretty quick, but like not Superman speeds?
Superman speed.
I'm just asking because I agree with flying because then you can just basically get anywhere you want as quick as you want.
Then the police wouldn't catch you and you would never get a ticket.
I feel like flying's the cleanest one because it's like there's not really going to be many like bad things happen from flying, but like there's just unlimited bad things that could happen with like psychic powers or reading the future or being invisible.
Yeah, I guess. Although flying, I've never ever thought of that as being a superpower that I would want ever.
What would you want, Gladys?
Oh, I don't know. Not flying. Invisibility, maybe. I don't know. Flying. That's just so weird to me because you can do that. Anyway.
Yeah, but you can. I think it's like you fly at 300 miles per hour, and it takes you 6 hours on a plane. And it's like, well, if I can fly at the speed of sound or twice the speed of sound, then I'm there.
Wait, what is that called when you can
Mach 2, 3?
No, when you can move from one space to another.
Teleportation. That's actually a good one. I like that one.
Okay, I would do teleportation before I do flying. I think.
I actually like the teleportation. That's a good one. I agree with that one now. I hate traveling, so just get me from place to place quickly. Yeah, I'm fine.
Exactly. and I hate traveling too. But okay, on that same vein then, who is your favorite superhero?
Ooh.
Out of any of the universes? Dylan.
Iron Man.
Really? Is Iron Man okay? This is for Danny Ocean. If you're listening, Danny, is Iron Man a superhero or is he just a really rich guy with lots of gadgets?
Yes.
I say.
Listen, I think superhero is its own thing. Like he throws himself, he followed a nuke into a different realm to save humanity. That to me is superhero-y.
He sacrificed. Okay, for those of you who haven't seen Endgame, this is all on you because it's been out for like 10 years. He sacrificed himself.
Yeah. So that to me is him being a superhero. It doesn't require superpowers.
Okay. So Dylan, you're going with Iron Man? All right, Dylan, Iron Man, your superhero. What position on a football field would he play?
Defensive line.
Ooh. Why? Defensive line.
Because he can just eliminate those offensive linemen and sack the quarterback. he'll be Chase Young. He'll be Chase Young with bigger guns.
Okay.
That's awesome.
What was your favorite superhero?
Man, this is hard for me. And I'm not a comic book person. I never was. I'm a Marvel Cinematic Universe person, not a comic book person. I want to say Scarlet Witch right now because I just think she is so powerful.
I do love her.
And like she's going to become, well, I think part of one of the movies coming up is dedicated to this, but she's going to become very powerful very soon. But Scarlet Witch in the comic books, I know, is a very powerful character, and I just love everything that she can do with her powers.
Yeah, supposedly the new Doctor Strange movie, she enhances her powers. So what position would Wanda play on a football field?
I don't know. Safety? Because she can kind of just like catch everything that is coming back. And she's like the last line of defense to save people, even though she killed some people in the Civil War movie. Sorry. But yeah, I think she could be a safety and like just capture anything that she'll be a ball hawk, basically. Ball hawk and safety.
I actually I actually like that. Because isn't the theory that she could have killed Thanos, that she was that powerful?
If she had understood her powers, yes, she could have killed Thanos.
There you go. So she is like the superhero. I like that. Way to go, Stompy.
Appreciate it. I'm a nerd.
There's nothing wrong with nerds. And speaking of nerds, let's go to my favorite nerd, John Cusack.
Oh, gosh. Oh, no, not this one.
He is like the greatest nerd of all time, as far as I'm concerned. Or top 5. He's top 5. Dylan, since that reaction happened, name your top 3 John Cusack movies and the best John Cusack line.
I actually can't think of any John Cusack movies.
How can you not think of any John Cusack movies?
I'm 28. I'm 28. How the heck do I remember any John Cusack movies?
I'm sorry. There are movies that came out within your lifetime that were John Cusack really good movies. Really, really good movies.
I know there were a couple ones where they were like Oscar nominated, but I'm not much of a movie guy, and I'm not much of a John Cusack guy either.
All right, Stumpy. 3 John Cusack movies.
All right. So actually the one that I like the most is Identity.
Really? I might love you right now.
Yeah, I mean, obviously I first saw it when I was younger, but I just like those movies that I can't really figure out. And that was one of those movies. I like that. And what's the Leonardo DiCaprio movie, Shutter Island? Like when they throw a twist that you just, and don't again, sorry for spoiler alert. Sorry. But yeah, anything that throws a twist at you like that, I love.
Yes. Identity is an awesome movie, an underratedly awesome movie. As is Shutter Island, actually. Although the book was a little better. All right, number 2.
Hot Tub Time Machine. I know you're going to hate me for that.
Oh, God. Which one? Which one? One or two?
The first one. The second one was garbage. The first one was awesome.
Well, isn't like the remake like always worse than the original? I mean,
oh yes.
I mean, like Hangover 2, Hangover 3, just
yes, yeah. Oh, I like it because it's just I love those goofy comedies like that just don't need to be made, but they were made.
Yeah, let's do it anyway. And the third one,
I don't. So obviously, I'm more up to date on the more recent films.
Right.
I liked The Frozen Ground, where he plays the detective, or the killer. Jack Nicholson Nicolas Cage plays the detective. Sorry. That is searching for a serial killer in Alaska, and John Cusack's the serial killer, and I think he played a really good serial killer.
Oh my God, I don't think I've ever seen that.
Yeah.
What is it?
It's called The Frozen Ground.
With Nicolas Cage and John Cusack?
Yep.
Holy mother of God, now I have to watch that tonight.
Dean Norris, too, and Vanessa Hudgens.
Really?
Yep.
I'm on it. Tonight. Movie time. All right, and your favorite John Cusack line?
Man. Pass. I don't really know a bunch of quotes. Here, let me see if I can rile up some quotes in my head.
You know any Samuel L. Jackson quotes?
I got one. It's not easy getting rides.
You don't want me to say these because I'm gonna curse on the show.
Cursing is completely allowed. I think I do.
So, it's what is it? Does he?
From what movie?
Does he look like a bitch? Does he look like a bitch? Have you seen Chappelle's show? Obviously, that's an iconic Pulp Fiction line. Yes. But any line from Pulp Fiction is iconic at this point. But have you seen Chappelle's show?
Uh-huh.
You know when he does the Samuel Jackson beer commercial, and the guy goes, "Can you stop yelling at me?" And he's like, "No, I can't stop yelling because that's how I talk." Ain't you seen my movies? Juice, that was a good one. Jurassic Park, Deep Blue Sea, a shark ate me. A fucking shark ate me. That's every time I hear Samuel Jackson, I'm like, well, yeah, that's Samuel Jackson in literally every movie he's done.
I miss Chappelle's show so much.
Oh, dude, so great.
It was a great show. It was a great show. All right, Dylan, what you doing?
He's looking up John Cusack quotes.
I already told you one.
What? He said hot tub time machine, not you. That doesn't count.
No, I'm trying to think. What was that, Marie? I can't think of that. Marie Malinkovich.
John Malkovich.
Yeah, John Malkovich.
Being John Malkovich.
Being John Malkovich was.
What was it? The Prince.
The Prince? No. How about the Grifters? That was like fairly recent, wasn't it? Angela Kirsten and Annette Bening, John Cusack.
Yep.
Wonderful movie. Dylan, you make me sad inside. My little happy place. All right, Dylan, rant time. Do you have something that you want to rant about besides not being a John Cusack fan?
Yes. Hello, NBA fans. I understand you may be very passionate about your team. You're happy that you can actually see your team play for the first time in 15 months. But what the bleep are you doing throwing water on the NBA's best players? This is a bunch of bull.
And popcorn.
What is this? We're throwing popcorn, water, beer on Kyrie Irving and all these guys.
Throwing racist comments out. Good Lord.
Come on. You know what? On ESPN, they used to say, come on, man, for like Monday Night Football. Come on, man. What is this? A bunch of 5-year-olds? We all saw what happened when that one idiot threw the water bottle on Kyrie Irving last night in Boston.
Well, and we've also, if nobody remembers the brawl at the Palace.
The malice at the Palace.
The malice at the Palace. If you don't remember that, you throw the water at the wrong person and they're kind of crazy, they're going to come get you.
and they kick the crap out of you, right?
Yeah, I think that's why they're throwing them, because they know that these guys aren't going to go up into the stands and kick the shit out of them, which they should do. I think they should be allowed to do it. I think if someone throws something at you, you have every right to go up and find out, what their deal is. Go talk to them man to man.
That should be the rule.
That should be the
rule. You throw something at a player, you get to face them one-on-one.
Exactly. All right. That is a good one, Dylan. Thank you. Be better, people. Be fucking better. Oh, ow. Sorry. Stumpy, what is your rant?
Oh, I don't think you want this from me.
Yeah, I do.
Gladys, so I don't know if I want to get political or not here. I don't think I do. Do I want to get political? All right.
Yes.
All right. So we recently have seen that the United States Senate blocked a commission to look into the incident on January 6th. And I say incident. By incident, I mean attempted coup and terrorism and treason. But if you think that it's okay for people to literally kill police officers at the Capitol, to make a makeshift noose at the Capitol, to bring handcuffs, to take duly elected officials hostage because you didn't like the outcome, you are also a traitor, a terrorist, and are a part of the attempted coup. I don't give a shit what you have an opinion on. It was an attempted coup, and if Black Lives Matter or if any other pride protests marched on the Capitol, that would not have happened. So you need to realize that the GOP, the conservatives that have voted for the GOP, And I might be taking away half your audience here. Who knows? I don't really. But if you think that what happened on January 6th is okay, you're lost, and I'm done with you. I don't have anything else to say to you.
And there you have it. And if you take away half the people, then you take away half the people that probably aren't thinking correctly anyway. So it's okay. Gentlemen, except for the whole John Cusack snafu, Dylan.
Oh gosh, there will not be any John Cusack questions on my podcast going forward.
Never gonna live that down. I enjoyed both of you being here. I appreciate both of you being here. Dylan, one more time, where can people find you to get your insights on everything not John Cusack?
Well, thank you, Gladys, for having me. Please, you can follow me on Twitter at Dylan S Sports 1. You can also see my content on Fake Pigskin and the Spunky Spectrum Sports YouTube page, where Lord knows who appears. It may be a John Cusack question, or it might be a fantasy football themed podcast. You never know.
Cortland Sutton, better than Julio Jones.
Oh, God.
Stumpy, welcome back again to the fantasy football realm, and tell us where we can now see you and where we can find this images of you in a singlet, please.
So I guess I'm now Cortland Sutton truther. I will not have anybody sullied on the Broncos, except for when they're terrible. Whatever. I don't care. I am at StompBearPig on Twitter. So like Man Bear Pig from South Park with StompBearPig. That's where you're going to get a lot of my thoughts and rants throughout the day. It's whether it be fantasy football or generally politics. You're going to get my rants. So if you like what I have to say, go follow me there. If you don't like what I have to say, still go follow me there. I don't really care if you don't like me. So like I said, I'm writing for Dynasty Nerds. Going to start a podcast here soon called Thunderdome, so be looking out for that. And yeah, that's everything, I think. Glad to be back. Thank you for having me on, Gladys. This was fun.
No, thank you for being on. And thanks to everyone who is listening on whatever
Restream,
Twitter, Facebook,
Periscope.
Is Periscope not a thing anymore? I thought.
Nope,
it is. Yeah. So Eric Johnson has a podcast that you can listen to. Eric, I'm sorry, I don't remember. I think it's on Thursdays because I can't listen to it. Kyle has a podcast that will be on next Monday. Him and Stump can discuss the Aaron Rodgers thing going on between those two. And I thank everyone who is listening. We will see you in 2 weeks. I will see you in 2 weeks. Kyle will see you next week. Look at StompBearPig on Twitter, Dylan's Sports 1 on Twitter. Tweet them, talk to them, find out their dynasty and their movie preference and superhero preferences, even though I'm not sure I agree with all of them. But I appreciate you gentlemen for being here. Thank you so much. I am Gladys L. Tyler. Come see me on Twitter. We will talk later. Gentlemen, have a great rest of your Memorial Day. And, of course, thank everyone who has served, who is serving, who will serve, who did serve. Happy Memorial Day to all of you.
USA all the way.